The Saudi Arabia foreign minister is dismissing allegations that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was behind the hacking of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' phone.
I think absurd is exactly the right word. The idea that the Crown Prince would hack Jeff Bezos' phone is absolutely silly.
This comes after 2 UN officials released a report suggesting there is enough evidence to link the alleged hacking to Saudi Arabia. And they're also asking the U.S. to open an investigation. So CNET senior producer Dan Patterson is in Davos, Switzerland, with more on this. Boy, Dan, this is quite a story. This is a complex hack. It's our understanding that an MP4 video was allegedly sent by MBS to Bezos, and that kind of like opened the front door to hackers.
Anne-Marie, as you know, the particulars of this attack are very complex. That MP4 video was allegedly sent to Mr. Bezos by Mohammed bin Salman just hours after they exchanged WhatsApp numbers. And then after playing the video, it launched executable software that began to exfiltrate, which is to extract data from Mr. Bezos' phone. Now, the particulars are complex, but as you also know, Anne-Marie, with phishing attacks, often the answer is very simple. I talked to Amy Webb, who is a quantitative futurist here at the World Economic Forum, about what makes social networks like WhatsApp particularly vulnerable to phishing attacks.
I think a lot of people are under the somewhat misguided understanding that encrypted messaging services will protect them from all harms. The reality is that while WhatsApp itself may be encrypted, you can still send false information, or you can be scooped up into all different kinds of phishing scams, as it would appear happened to Bezos.
So, listen, Dan, when I heard that Bezos and MBS were using WhatsApp, I was sort of surprised. It just seemed like that's, an app for the common people. And we would assume that Bezos, is up on cyber defense and cybersecurity. The guy's sort of the leading edge of one of the, the wealthiest and most successful online companies in existence. Why was he so vulnerable?
So that's exactly right, Anne-Marie. WhatsApp is used by billions of people around the world, as are other messaging apps. Signal, which is another encrypted app, Telegram, billions of users around the world. The thing that made Bezos particularly vulnerable is the same thing that makes you or I vulnerable. And that is not technical, it's trust. Again, Amy Webb had some great details about how trust was exploited to attack Bezos.
Yeah, every time we have a conversation about these sort of hacks, I always say that we are the weakest link here. It's not the technology, it's us.
That's right. We are kind of the weakest link in the chain here. And again, Bezos thought that he was speaking with a trusted colleague or friend, MBS, but you or I could do the same thing. It's also important to know that this happened just 6 months after Mr. Bezos, who is the owner of Amazon, or the CEO of Amazon, and the owner of the Washington Post, met with Jamal Khashoggi, and after Khashoggi was allegedly murdered by the Saudi Arabian government. So there are many inferences and connections here. We're having a hard time making a direct connection, but there's a lot of surrounding details that says this phishing attack and the cyber attack did originate from MBS, Saudi, and perhaps the NSO group.
Okay, you point out that millions of people all around the world use WhatsApp. I know I don't, but I know a lot of people that do. Actually, no, I am signed up for WhatsApp. Now, you just reminded me. How do we protect ourselves, us normal folks, if somebody like Jeff Bezos can be hacked?
Well, because trust is so often exploited in hacks like this, Anne-Marie, it's important for us to examine the origination of emails and to make sure that when we click on links, that we don't just click on everything. When we play video files, we don't instant or autoplay those files. Scrutinize everything, particularly emails with attachments, but also think that simply because Bezos was targeted, that you can't be. You can because you have quite a bit of valuable data yourself.
All right, so listen, before we let you go, we want to change the topic a little bit and turn to the Trump campaign. CBS News has obtained the first images from this app that we also know several other candidates have apps as well. What should we be aware of when we're downloading apps from some of these candidates?
Well, Anne-Marie, I want to be absolutely clear. There is zero indication that the Trump application is at all vulnerable. What we should be aware of, every application, when you grant permissions, you download that app, it pops up a little notification that says, would you like to allow this app to do a number of things? When you are giving an app permissions, just remember that it can shovel a lot of data, way more than you anticipate, back home. But again, there's no indication that this app is doing this right now. We want to be aware that all apps have the potential to send information that is private and personal back to the home developers.
All right, Dan, thank you very much.